Welcome, everybody, to episode number 43 of We Are Family. Thank you for joining wherever and whenever you are. I think I said that right. I know that's your thing.
I say wherever and whenever you may be listening.
You always say good morning, good afternoon,
that is
good
true,
evening.
Yeah. I didn't want to steal all of your thunder, but I want to add just a little bit. Anyway, this is episode number 43, and right away, let's talk about a major trade that definitely was some news to our friend Matt Palangi. The Micah Parsons trade from the Cowboys to the Packers. Packers maybe trying to take advantage of a division that, you know, if the Lions have a down year, they could very well win. So what are you guys' thoughts?
I mean, I didn't expect that to happen at all. I mean, because we saw with Trey Hendrickson and Terry McLaurin, they were able to figure it out. We know Jerry likes to wait things out. He literally said it's a soap opera 365 days a year. He likes to wait it out. He likes to play games. And let's talk about this from Micah Parsons' advantage, from Micah Parsons' viewpoint. Micah Parsons he lost respect for the organization, for Jerry Jones. He did not want to be there anymore. And I think it comes down to as simple as that. And he lost respect for Jerry because of how the process was going. And Jerry, we have to remember, if he really wanted to stay in Dallas, he could have. Because Jerry offered him $41 million a year. He would have been tied with Watt for the highest paid player. Now, Green Bay gave him $47 million, which is a big upgrade, obviously. But that clears the market in terms of non-quarterbacks. That clears the market. But you have to remember, in Texas, there's no state income tax. In Green Bay, there's state income tax. So when you count the state, I was reading something about this. When you count the state income tax, he's still going to make about the same money he would have made with Jerry's offer. So I think he did want to clear the market. I think that was a big part of it. But I think it was more of a respect factor. He lost respect for the organization. He did not want to be there anymore. He felt like he was disrespected. And that's the game Jerry was playing. I mean, he played that game with Dak. He played it with CD. They were fine with it. They wanted to be Cowboys, but Micah didn't. And I respect Micah for respecting himself and wanting to go to a place where they truly care about winning, because that's not what's going on in Dallas.
Cowboys don't care about winning. You got to be like, they don't truly care about winning. Jerry Jones made that clear in his documentary. It's more about just getting eyeballs on the brand, on the himself. Cowboys, and on himself, especially. Right.
So I think from Micah's perspective, I'm happy for him. I think it's the right decision in terms of wanting to win. You're going to have to pay more taxes, but I think he's obviously still making more money. I mean, he cleared the market. That's kind of a flex. So good for him. Looking at it from the Packers side, you know, Jake Bell had the Packers as the number one seed. Now they're going to be the 1 ace. Can we go above the 1 seed now with Micah Parsons? Is there a
maybe
seed?
I knew all along this trade would happen.
Let's put them in the championship game. No, I mean, I'm not going that far, but I didn't have them being the number 1 seed, but I had them winning the division. And I mean, the thing with Green Bay was, like, we heard this. Me and Nate talked about this. Who is their star? Like, who is their star player? Because Jordan Love struggled a little bit last year. Like, they don't have any big names. Well, now you got the big name. You got the big star. And their defense has always been good, but they haven't had an explosive playmaker like this in a long time. And you got him on one side and Rashawn Gary on the other side. Like, that is a dangerous combo. And it takes pressure off of your offense and off of your quarterback, because you're going to have Micah Parsons making plays all over the field, stopping the run, getting to the quarterback. The thing that makes him different from like a TJ and a Myles Garrett too is he can play coverage too. Like, he could do so much. I mean, Green Bay, to me, I don't know if I was going to say, oh, they're a Super Bowl contender, but this absolutely makes them a Super Bowl contender. And people say, well, they still have Jordan Love. There's some question marks with Jordan Love. I'm a Jordan Love believer personally, but even though Jordan Love kind of struggled last year, they still won 11 games. And that's despite only winning 1 divisional game. So you got to think, you know, with how tough that division is and how everyone plays each other so close, they're going to win more than 1 divisional game. especially now with Micah. I really, this Packers team, the sky's the limit. I really feel like it. I really do. Now let's look at this from the Cowboys' perspective. Obviously, Jerry is it's just a mess. Okay. I am not against the Cowboys going in a rebuild mode, but not after you paid your quarterback $60 million a year and you paid CeeDee Lamb all that money. Like, that's not going in a rebuild direction. And now you trade, out of the three, you could argue Micah Parsons is the most impactful because Dak's a franchise quarterback, but not for that kind of money.
Nobody, only like Mahomes or something for that kind of money.
And I think, on another point, I think that the Micah contract, him wanting, because he said he wanted to clear the market. When they offered that, he's like, I want $45 million. And I think part of that was because, well, if you're gonna clear the quarterback market with Dak at $60 million, you should clear the non-quarterback market with me at $45. And he ended up getting $47 million. And I think obviously the disrespect of, I'm not going to talk with your agent. Like, what is that about? But anyway, back to the Cowboys side of things. 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark is simply not enough. Now they need to help rebuilding their roster. But to me, I don't think that value, unless Kenny Clark gets back to playing like he used to play. I mean, he was good. He's been pretty good. He's been one of the better D tackles. Like, he's one of the names. But last year he was not as good. You haven't heard his name a lot recently. I think the Packers were comfortable moving off of him for a reason. And only 2 first-round picks for a player going into his second contract. I just don't think that makes this Cowboys team, obviously doesn't make them better now. It doesn't make them better in the future. And you're still stuck with this Dak contract. I just feel like this Dak contract really messed them up because it made Micah want more money. And I think Jerry thinking that Dak took the contract late. Well, everyone's just going to take a contract late because we're the Cowboys. Well, Micah stood up to you, and I am shocked that Jerry gave in. I think it was stupid for him to give in because Micah was still going to get paid a decent amount of money with his 5th-year option. And he had like 2 or 3 more years left technically. Like, I don't think Micah would have sat out for that money and miss out on that money. I'm just shocked that he gave in. I'm not sure what the thought process was. I mean, Jerry, we know the Cowboys are not into rebuilding. I think they generally think that this is a move that makes their team better now and next year, and I don't think it does at all. And I think it could have been an ego thing for Jerry. We saw Micah, sitting on the trainer's bench, like sleeping or whatever he was doing, and kind of being disrespectful. And we obviously know Jerry has a massive ego, so I think Jerry may have been like, I don't like that. And I think he did say that in the press conference yesterday that, like, that's not something you do. And I think that could have been a big part of it. So it's a rational move, and I think it was a mistake. Now, if Kenny Clark can get back to what he was before, he's only 29, which is possible. It's just hedge rushers like that, talents like that are so hard to find. The Cowboys are always built on stars. That's their identity, and you lost your biggest one. So
Yeah, no, I agree largely with you, Peyton. I think Jerry didn't like. He felt like he was kind of being stood up by Micah Parsons in that kind of almost like a protest. Like laying on the trainer's table and doing whatever and talking publicly about the private contract
Dak
negotiations.
Didn't do that. I don't think CD did that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
As for, I think they should. I think ultimately this was the right move for the team in their direction. I think they should rebuild. Their roster screams a rebuild. They have several. I was saying going into the draft, they needed something at like every position other than quarterback with Prescott. But even then, you might want to try to move off him at some point. I don't know how you can with that contract, but Now it's like, who are your linebackers? I know they have like outside rusher. They have Dante Fowler, who is very inconsistent, and sometimes he'll be one of the better edge rushers in football, but other times he really does not look good. They're relying on a lot. I think Kenny Clark brings a little bit, but I just think it was a bad defense last year with Micah Parsons for a full year.
Well, he was hurt actually for multiple games, but.
Well, for the most part.
But even when he was in the game, I mean, Baltimore's running up and down the field. Everybody, the Saints were running up and down the field.
It was just a thing. They got pushed around last year. They just did. Yeah. It was clear to see. And I just don't think they made the improvements on the defensive side of the ball to contend this year, frankly, in the NFC. And with that schedule, I mean, I was looking at their schedule yesterday. They have one of the tougher schedules I've seen. I mean, they play the Eagles, Chiefs, and Lions, I think, in 3 consecutive weeks in the second half of the season. And I mean, I just don't know. I just don't think this is a team that can compete this year or next year.
Definitely not now. Not with Mike.
Even with Micah Parsons, I didn't think that because there's still a lot of deficiencies. Yeah. Trayvon Diggs, everybody hypes him up, but when he makes the splash plays, but he's one of the worst corners at actual coverage because he makes the splash plays, but that's because he takes risks and everything, and when those don't work out, he gives up big chunk yardage plays.
Same with the guy on the other side, Deron Bland.
Deron Bland, that's right, yeah. So it's a lot of boom or bust, and then if you're running, so if they're giving up a ton of rush yards, then you try to go in, more on the run game, and then you're very susceptible for the deep ball. Mm-hmm. So I just think, and I think against Mahomes, I think against even Jalen Hurts with those receivers they have, with Jared Goff and some of this, I don't see where they're going to have to be in a lot of track meets, I think. I think Dak Prescott, he's shown he can lead a high-powered offense, but I just in their run game too, I think it's better, but how much better is it?
I heard Danny Perkins, we talk about their defense. I heard Danny Perkins say yesterday. Parkins, I'm sorry. That's very disrespectful on my part. He said they're a feast and famine defense.
Yeah.
There's no feasting now about Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
There's what do you got?
So I mean, this doesn't really change the outlook for me of their team this year. I didn't think they were going to compete.
I think they have a much lower ceiling now.
Yeah, I think so. I would agree with that, but I had them
or lower. I'm sorry, a lower or a
higher ceiling.
Lower it would be lower ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah. So as for the Packers, I think this is a good move for them. I like aggressive moves, especially when you're a team like the Packers that is trying to compete for the Super Bowl, and they always do. They always try to compete for the Super Bowl. But my questions weren't about their defense. Like why? Remember, I ranked them last in the division. Why did I do that? It's not even because I don't trust Jordan Love. I like Jordan Love too. I haven't seen these, like everybody hypes up, these receivers are just young and everything. I still need to see like a big one of those players break out, a Christian Watson, a Romeo Doubs, somebody like that, to have a really breakout season and be a wide receiver one.
I've heard a lot of good things about this. I mean, they drafted a receiver in the first round and they've never done that for how many years?
Yeah.
I think he's the key. I think he's the key for them. These other guys are hit or miss. I think Jaden Reed is a. I think if Golden can be your 1 and Reed can be your 2. Look, when you have an offensive coach in Matt LaFleur, and you have Jordan Love, when Jordan Love is flying on all cylinders, it doesn't matter who the receivers is. Like that's his talent level. So if they can have a competent receiving core, I think they have the talent. Enough talent to do that. But it's a young core. They have a young team. They do.
But what hurt them last year? Jordan Love wasn't as good. I don't think he was as good because his receivers let him down too often. We remember a ton of drop passes last season and really in the past couple seasons. So I think it's a great move for their defense. I do agree with you, Peyton. They were missing that like star player, I think, on the defensive side. They have really solid players. Rashawn Gary's a really solid player, but Kenny Clark's a solid player. But that's a star. That's a disruptor. That is Micah Parsons is the kind of player that opposing offenses have to game plan for specifically. We gotta contain Micah Parsons as much as we can, right? And you just wouldn't say that for any other players on the Packers defense previously. So I think this is a good move for the Packers. But again, I mean, they have a tough schedule and everybody in the NFC North has a tough schedule because they're playing each other and they're playing the NFC East and everything. So I like the move. I kind of disagree, Payne. I think about like the move because I like the move. I agree that they shouldn't have paid Dak that much money, and they shouldn't have. They could have extended CeeDee Lamb because I think his window is he still has a lot of really good football left, so he could be a part of the next really good Dallas team. But I think Dak Prescott obviously was way too much money. Everybody agrees to that. But I think this is a move where I don't think they were thinking rebuild, but I think. Maybe incidentally,
you can't do that. You can't. That just shows how incompetent they are.
Yeah,
you can't think rebuild. You can't not think rebuild and then make a rebuild move. And
I think that's what they did.
That's my problem. They really think they're still a good team because if they were really thinking rebuild, they would have waited this out. If they really wanted to trade Micah and get the proper return that he's worth. Because that is not enough of a return for Micah Parsons.
2 first-rounders is a lot. That's a lot.
No, you need more.
Especially in this year's draft. If they get one of the top quarterbacks, apparently this is the greatest quarterback draft class ever.
You're paying Dak $60 million. You can't get another quarterback.
His contract's up.
I mean, you can compare this with the Khalil Mack trade where he netted 2 first-round picks and like a third and a sixth, but the Bears also gave up a second. This is
similar to that.
You know
but the Packers are much more closer to competing than the Bears. I don't think 2 first-round picks is going to, change your roster enough where giving up Micah Parsons was worth it. I don't think it will. I don't trust them to do that. And I just don't think you can't head in one direction and then say, well, we're still in this direction, but you know what? We're going to trade our best player. They have no direction right now whatsoever. They have none.
Yeah, to me, obviously, so far the Packers have the best of the deal right now. We would say just because they upgraded at a position they could use an upgrade with the defensive line. As for the Cowboys, like to me, I go back and forth. Like you would want to see the first round picks get more value because the Packers are going to be good unless just everyone gets hurt. So they're going to be getting 2 late first round picks. But as for Kenny Clark. He's still a good player. His sack numbers went down, but he was also very much responsible for stopping the run too. So as an interior defensive lineman, it kind of makes sense why he's no longer in the 6 to 7 sack range, but he's still a valuable defensive lineman. It's just, to me, he has to be a Pro Bowler next year. To me,
right? I agree.
And I think he has the capability to be. He's going to be the best player on that Cowboys defensive line. As of now that Parsons is gone, obviously. So that's kind of something to look at. But overall, from the Cowboys' perspective, maybe you feel like, like we had a good team the year before. We were hurt this year. Let's just see what we have this year before we make a sudden conclusion that we are going in a full rebuild. I think that's what they're looking at now. Just because it would kind of be unfair to Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb if you guys are like, let's just rebuild now. And they're like, well, Dak Prescott could say, well, I was hurt all last year. Like, there's nothing I could have really done to help, us win games if I wasn't on the field. So I think that's where they're at. They're like, hey, if we grab Kenny Clark, obviously we're getting worse at defense, but we're not just completely negating the defensive line by getting rid of Parsons with this move. So I think that's where their head is at. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I get where they're coming from, and I would expect a rebuild to happen sooner than later. But who knows? Like you said, the Cowboys don't really do that. But I feel like this is like, hey, we'll give it one more year before we make that sudden conclusion that we're going to be going through a full rebuild. So,
yeah, I mean, if they decide to go, my thing is they could have waited this out and gotten a bigger return, because I know there had to have been other teams interested. I know Jerry said there were interested enough. There were only a group of teams that could have done the deal with their cap space. But I would have juiced it out, taken as long as waited. If he wants to sit out week 1 as we're looking for a trade, that's fine. We'll take as long as possible to make the trade. I just felt rushed and impulsive to me.
I don't know if a team would want to, the NFL trade deadline is one of the worst of the trade. I just don't know if a team would be willing to give that much up during the season.
I'm not saying week 3 or 4. I'm saying they still had a couple more weeks to figure this out, and I don't know.
I have one more point about this too, which kind of shows the kind of inconsistency in their vision for what they want to be this year and going forward. The George Pickens trade. They give up draft capital, right?
Exactly.
And
Great point.
Like if you're saying, oh, we're entering a rebuild, why would you bring in George Pickens for just this season? And all indications reporting was that you were going to let him walk.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So you give up that draft capital, and now you get some draft. Like if you could have had those picks still.
And it felt like they gave up a 5th or a 6th. They gave up a 3rd round pick.
Yeah. So it doesn't really make sense. But yeah, no, I don't think they are. I don't think it changes too much other than maybe it lowers the ceiling because there is a scenario for the Cowboys where their offense is just clicking like crazy and they win some shootouts against some really good teams and they could maybe sneak into the playoffs. But now like here I just don't know with the linebackers and everything now that really hurts their depth there. So it's a weird move. I think it was a bit impulsive by Jerry Jones. Because I think it was the right move if you're going into a rebuild, obviously, but it was for the wrong reasons. It was for more like petty reasons, I think.
I guarantee you they're not thinking about a rebuild. They don't think Jerry Jones has been there for how many years? When have they ever thought about except in the beginning with Jimmy Johnson?
Well, I remember a couple of years ago there were all these reports and Jerry Jones was coming out like he's getting up there in age, right? We want to compete every season. He wants to win Super Bowls. And now it seems like that's kind of changed because now he's saying you were looking towards the future here. Well, what changed? I mean, it's 2 years, 3 years later now. How has that changed? That vision changed? So it's just a weird. I think it was the right move for the team. I think they should rebuild, but it was for the wrong reasons ultimately. But good on the Packers, very aggressive. And I also want to say the $47 million was kind of shocking.
Yeah,
because they didn't. It wasn't like what was T.J. Watt's like 41.2 or something.
Well, yeah.
It wasn't like 41.5 or something or 42 even.
Well, Micah wanted to clear the market, and he was going to only go to a team that did that. Because I think it was more of a flex, like I said, and I think it was for him though. It was in the end, it wasn't about the money. It is obviously, but he could have made about the same in Dallas. He just lost respect for the organization. He didn't want to be there anymore. I mean, he clearly showed it on the sidelines. It's just one of the biggest trades, unexpected. But we had the 3 contract situations, and we kind of all thought that all 3 of them would work out in the team's favor that has that player. Bengals, the Bengals, it was kind of like, well, 1 year with Hendrickson.
Well, I thought the Bengals might trade him, actually. I thought they would. I thought
it was more likely that they'd trade Hendrickson than Dallas would trade Micah.
Yeah.
But I think that turned out better for the Bengals, obviously, than it did for Dallas. Because, I mean, with Joe Burrow and Jamar and T, like, you always have a chance. And even if you just have them for this year, like, that helps if your defense could show any improvement schematically. If this defensive coordinator, I don't even know who their defense, but like they have a new defensive coordinator. If they can get anything out of this defense outside of Trey Hendrickson, like you have a chance to do something. So,
all right. Well, that was a very good discussion for Micah Parsons. Definitely a big trade. Let's go to the NFL predictions that we had before, but we're revising them now. We got a little bit of revision. I know me and Peyton have a similar list, maybe a little bit of a tweak. I know Nate, I think, changed his list a little bit more than us. So
I actually didn't change as much as I thought I would. Like when we talked yesterday, I was like, I think I have a lot of change. I actually didn't have like too many like changes, but some tweaks here and there.
Awesome. So who wants to start us off?
You want me to go first?
Go for it.
Okay, so in the AFC, I really didn't change much. Let me pull this thing up. I had Bills winning the East. I had the Ravens winning the North. Texans. I'm actually lower on the Texans now. I have them 9-8 now, but winning that division because some of these South teams have some difficult.
Their line, the Texans' line, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
If their line can be average, though, I think like their defense, D'Amico, that receiving core, they got to get Joe Mixon healthy. He's going to be out for. He's on IR.
Right.
He's out for 4 weeks.
Well, they were saying. Somebody asked. I can't remember if it was the GM or not, but they asked, "Is Joe Mixon going to play this year?" And it was like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Like it's like worse than that.
I mean,
that is concerning
Nick Chubb
to me.
the starting running back right
As
now?
of now, yeah. I know they drafted a rookie.
And they said, excuse me, oh my gosh. I remember D'Amica's like trying to say nice things about Nick Chubb, but it was kind of like hinting like he's not that good anymore.
He's got
Wow.
yeah.
So that's concerning. If you don't have a run game with a young quarter, I mean, we love C.J. Stroud, but with that O-line.
And with the sophomore kind of slump he had last season.
Right.
He was still, I mean.
It wasn't.
They still won a playoff game with his sophomore slump, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
So I had the Texans winning at 9-8, but I had the Colts and the Jaguars 8-9 now, and I moved the Titans down a little bit. I don't like what I've been seeing out of camp, so I had them move down. I just don't think Cam Ward has enough around him. And then in the West, I have the Chiefs winning it again. So those are my division winners: Bills, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs. I think that remains unchanged. But I moved the Broncos to second in the West. I have them at 11-6. I also have the Chargers 11-6, but I think the Broncos win a tiebreaker somewhere. I just had them above them. I don't know. Some of the games like I'm gonna get to, like they play each other once, and then whoever won that game, I said like would have the tiebreaker. But I had them splitting their series. But so I have in the playoffs: Bills, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers. People were like throwing the Chargers way out. I still think they're a really good football team. The O-line does concern me now a little
Slater
bit.
is a big loss, but they're always gonna. Jim Harbaugh teams are always gonna be tough in the trenches. Losing one player, I think, even though it's a big loss, doesn't say, oh, now they're not a playoff team. Like I just don't see that. And Justin Herbert getting disrespected, but I understand like he hasn't been good in the playoffs, but I think he's out to prove something this year.
Yeah. So my one change is I move one team out of the playoffs and one team in. I moved the Cincinnati Bengals back into the playoff field, and I took the Patriots out. I have both of them.
So you have the same as last year. Bills,
Bengals
Ravens,
didn't
Chiefs.
make it. Bengals didn't make it.
Oh right, I'm an idiot. That's right.
So I have both of them finishing 10-7, Bengals and Patriots, but I have the Bengals beating the Patriots at home as the tiebreaker. We
love the tiebreaker.
I think we're, in this scenario, but there are concerns, but I just think the defense, if their defense, the Bengals plays like it did in the second half, where it's like not great, but it kept them in games at least for the most part. I think they'll be. I just don't see them going like 9-8 or. I mean, they go 8-9, 9-8 last year, and they had that horrendous start.
Yeah.
I think they'll start better. The schedule's a little more favorable early for them, I think so. That's my field: Bills, Ravens, Bengals, Texans, Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers in the AFC. You want me to go NFC too? Just get all mine out.
Yeah.
Or?
We could, yeah.
NFC. I can't remember. I think I had the Commanders winning the division. I move the Eagles to first again. I have them going 12-5, Commanders 11-6. I think that last game of the year, the Eagles win at home and they become division winners. I have the Giants at 6-11, the Cowboys at 5-12. I do have them at 5-12. I'm very low on them now. I took a win away from them.
I was thinking maybe the Giants would finish above them. I think that's even obviously more of a possibility now. But the Giants' schedule is brutal.
It is.
So, but I think the Giants are a better team. And I like the coach. I think Russ, he had a rough end of the year last year, but I think
their defense
if they can
will
get
keep
the ball
him in.
out of his hands, he can. Yeah, and their defense,
like their defense isn't a concern for me. It's just, and Russell Wilson, I think they'll be. Okay, actually, even though it is a tougher schedule. I was maybe I should put the Cowboys in front, but I want to. A part of it's too, I feel bad for the Giants. I just want to move them up one time. 'Cause they're always in the cellar.
The pity move up.
It is, but also I'm I didn't like the Cowboy. I got to take a win from them or something. So, in the North, I have the Lions winning still at 11-6. I also have the Vikings 11-6. I went through their schedule and I was I see a lot of wins actually on this schedule, even with J.J. McCarthy unproven and everything. And then I have moved the Packers out of fourth. I did. I have them third at 9-8 because I moved them up. I gave them a win. I added a win. That's only fair. I had them 8-9, so now 9-8. I think their schedule's tough. You look at their schedule.
How are they losing less games than they did last year?
Because I don't know. I think the division's tougher. and I think
it's
the other
tough every year.
I think the Bears are a very good 8-9, and
the Vikings are better than the Packers with J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, other than the quarterback, the Vikings have a superior roster and a better defensive coordinator.
That is true.
And an offensive play caller.
I don't know about the superior. I mean,
oh yeah, their defense, yeah. Their wide receiver core is much better. Running backs almost chalk. I think, and I like what they have. So, yeah. So and then the Bears, I have 8-9.
That's okay.
And then the South, I have the Bucks winning at 10-7. I was like,
so the Bears. Wait. The Bears were in the playoffs, weren't they? Didn't you have them in the playoffs?
Yeah. So
they're in last.
Yeah, because I don't like what I'm seeing.
What are you talking? Oh, he didn't throw the ball in the net. Oh, one time he didn't throw the ball.
There's a lot of negatives about Caleb Williams. Have you not heard the rumors?
It's the media. It's the media just spinning stuff. There's nothing going on.
The media has been very high on Caleb. They've been defending him at every turn because he's the number one pick in everything.
I mean, he had one preseason game and he was good, and I don't give a crap about preseason. But I mean, what has he done to say, oh, well, he's not going to be better this year?
Well, there were reports, and Ben Johnson was talking at his press conference.
Ben Johnson is hard on him because he knows he can be great, and he wants him to be great.
Right, you want to go through their schedule? There's games that they're definitely underdogs in by a lot, that they would need a lot to win in. Okay, so I don't want to hear it anymore. Let me finish my thing. This is taking too long. In the South, I have the Bucks winning at 10-7. If you remember, I was flirting with them being the 1 seed, but I just didn't think about the 1 seed. I was just throwing a team out there. I have the Falcons 9-8, Panthers 6-11, Saints 3-14. They're going to be a train wreck. Spencer Rattler, what are we doing? NFC West. I have the Rams still winning. A little bit of concern with Matt Stafford's back, but I like their roster. I like their defense at the end of last season. Really, it's a young defense, but I think it's going to improve again this season. I have the Cardinals in the playoffs.
Oh!
Arizona Cardinals in the playoffs at 10-7. It's got to be. We've been waiting here for several years. Obviously, Kyler Murray had that 1 year where they just started out tremendous, and then kind of like the Steelers last year, the wheels completely fell off at the end. I don't see that happening. I just think they're going to be like solid throughout. And I think there are some games that are coin flips I think they can win. I do think I like their coach. Early on, people were a little worried because he had that speech, and it was like, what is that? That was not motivation at all. That was But I like their team now. I like their offensive skill players. Trey McBride's a great tight end. Obviously, Marvin Harrison, everything.
Who do they have outside of that, other than James Conner?
I know they drafted a running back early last year, like second or third round.
Benson. Trey Benson.
I don't know what other receivers they have though.
And they really loaded up on their defense, and obviously a Budda Baker, but their line is very improved. So I have the Cardinals making the playoffs. I have the Niners finishing with the same record.
I gotta write this down.
I had the Niners finishing with the same record, 10-7, as the Cardinals, but I had them missing the playoffs. I don't know the tiebreaker thing. I just wanted to put the Cardinals in over the Niners. Even though the Niners' schedule is so easy, I was just going through. Like at the end, it's very like easy at the end, which you don't see as much. But I just don't like what I'm seeing. I think their receiver core, it's kind of crazy. Is like thin now. We were talking about how much depth they had just a year and a half ago, how much depth they had. I like Kittle and McCaffrey, but can McCaffrey stay healthy? Can Kittle stay healthy? We know without them, Brock Purdy's a very, below average quarterback. So, but I do think they're a solid team, and their schedule is going to give them some wins. And I have the Seahawks 9-8. I don't know. It's just like a gut feeling for me. I actually like their roster. I really do. They have some tough games that are coin flips. I could easily see them actually winning this division. I could see any of these teams winning that division actually. I like their defense is going to be good. It's just, is Sam Darnold, is he going to be that guy again this year? I think he will be good, but I just don't know if he's to that level where they win road games against some of the better teams. So I have this as the most competitive division basically with the North, NFC North. So my NFC playoff teams are Eagles, Commanders, Lions, Vikings, Bucks, Rams, and Cardinals. So that is my prediction. So in the NFC, who did I take out?
You took out the Bears.
I took out the Bears. I put the Vikings in.
The Vikings were in last time.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were. I have it written down. You had them in last time.
No, I had them like third. Did I really have them in?
Yes. That according to what I wrote, it says Nate, Commanders, Lions, Bucks, Rams, Eagles, Bears. You had the Bears and then the Vikings. So you have. Do you still have the Packers missing the playoffs? Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous.
By a game. By a game. Very
okay.
close.
Yeah, they got Micah. They're going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, well.
Commanders, Lions, Bucks, Rams, Eagles, Cardinals, Vikings.
Yeah.
So you only made one. You only made 2 changes.
Yeah.
A lot of talk.
I moved the Packers up. And
I don't do I don't care about divisions. You know, it can be one game. So I don't care about the division stand. It's about who's the 7 in the team. And the we're gonna fight about that this year.
Book it here.
The Vikings are not better than the Packers now. There's no way.
We'll go back to this at the end of the year to see who is right.
I'm very looking forward to it because I'm going to be sitting here.
With J.J. McCarthy. I'll take Jordan Love any day of the week.
He
doesn't like the quarterback, but he thinks they're better.
I like the roster.
The roster. That's more important than the quarterback.
I like O'Connell more than LaFleur. I like the coaching staff more. And I like the skill players for the Vikings more. And
don't care about the skill player.
What do you even say?
They're making a big deal out of the skill player. Listen.
Because they're much better.
Josh Allen,
Jefferson, Addison,
Hawkinson. Skill positions.
That's
Packers are well run.
Vikings are well run.
They just spent a first-round pick on a receiver. Okay, so, all right, Jake Bell, go ahead. You'll
Sounds
be much
good.
More brief. He had 2 changes and talked for 50
You interrupted me. You kept interrupting me about my pick.
No, you went through every division. You need to go through every division. Okay, let's go.
All right. So what I'll do, I'll just go through the divisions, then the AFC seedings. The AFC, I didn't change a thing. I'm staying very pat, but I'll still go over what I have division-wise just as a refresher if you haven't watched the previous episode. For the AFC North, I have the Ravens as the division winners. I see the Bengals going second, Steelers third, and obviously the Browns fourth. It's just, to me, like, the Bengals, I feel like they'll be better than the Steelers just because I feel like the offense is just gonna excel to a great degree. I think, like I mentioned in the episode that we talked about this, Trey Hendrickson is gonna play with a chip on his shoulder, saying, you know, I'm seeing all these edge rushers get all this money, and I'm stuck with this 1-year deal. Like I think he's gonna play out of his mind.
I agree for sure.
And I think that's gonna be beneficial for the Bengals. I think they'll be second in the division. For the AFC East, I have the Bills as the number 1 seed. I don't think anyone's going to challenge them, at least yet. But there is a team that I think could soon, and that's the Patriots, who I have as the 2nd seed in the AFC East. Third, I have the Dolphins, and fourth, I have the Jets. I think the Jets and the Dolphins could be neck and neck.
That's going to be a poverty off for last place in the division.
I agree, and I just have the Jets fourth because I just don't trust them as much as the Dolphins. I've seen what Tua is able to do as a fully healthy quarterback, and he could be a winner. I know that the receiving core is still pretty solid. I just trust their offense, and I trust their coach.
I think the Dolphins. I don't think it's I had the Dolphins like 8 and 9. Like I think they're like I don't think they're like a terrible team.
Right.
Like,
that's what I
completely poverty.
I agree.
And they have some like early on they play well early, and they have some games they can win early. But yeah, I agree with what you had there, Jake.
So for the AFC South, I think the Texans, they end up taking a step forward. I know you guys mentioned about the questions on the offensive line. I have those same questions, but I feel like C.J. Stroud is going to improve from that sophomore slump, even though, you know, that would be a very good season for a lot of quarterbacks. So I think the Texans still win that division. I actually have the Colts second. Third, I have the Titans. I'm a big Cam Ward guy. I kind of wanted Pitt to get him whenever he was in the transfer portal, whenever they got Slovis. He's a guy that already went through his adversity. You don't want to go through your first adversity in the NFL, and that's where you see a lot of these like golden boy quarterbacks end up failing because, you know, they were the guy in high school, the guy in college, and in the NFL, that's when they start to struggle. Cam Ward had to transfer from an FCS program, had to dominate there to get any sort of recognition, did pretty well at Washington State, and then just took that very much next step at Miami. I think he's going to be a leader for the Titans early on. We see that with C.J. Stroud and Jaden Daniels, how these rookie quarterbacks now that have had that experience in college are able to do well in their first year, and I can see that with Cam Ward. And then I do have the Jaguars as the fourth team in the AFC South. For the AFC West, I have the Chiefs as the number 1. They're going to be the number 1 until someone dethrones them. I have the Chargers as the second team. Broncos as the third team, and the Raiders as the last team in the AFC West. I think the Raiders, I think it's going to take them a while to get going, and I just don't see them really having that next step with Geno Smith just yet, and with Pete Carroll. But I think they're going to.
Kenny Pickett.
No, that is true. Yes. But anyway, I can't see them. They're going to be competent this year. I just don't see them dethroning any of those three teams above them. For the AFC seeding, the number one seed I have is the Ravens. Second seed I have is the Chiefs. Third seed I have is the Texans. Fourth I have the Bills. So those are my division winners.
Oh wow! So you have okay.
I have the Bills. I think they're going to be very good. I think they're going to win playoff games. Yeah, it's just you never know with the NFL. I think they could win 11 games and be a fourth seed because I think the Texans could win a couple more games. I think the Chiefs and Ravens just do very well. As for the wildcard teams, I think the Chargers are going to be the best wildcard team. It's just they've built this foundation offensively and have allowed Herbert to do less. Like his turnovers have gone way down except for that playoff game. And I think it's going to set them up for success. The sixth seed, they have the Bengals, and the seventh seed, I'm going to stick with the Patriots still. I think
so. No revisions.
No revisions for the AFC. Now, the NFC, I made a very minor tweak, but
you had the Packers sliding all the way down to last in the division.
I did not. So I'll start with that division, the NFC North, the division winner. I still have the Packers. I'm so glad I picked them now that Parsons is on the team now. So I'm going to stick with my gut there. I'm going with the Lions as the number 2 team, Vikings as the third team in the division, and the Bears fourth. It's just it's tough. Like I'm thinking, do the Bears maybe go third? But it's just the Vikings. We saw them turn around Sam Darnold. I think J.J. McCarthy will be good enough to where they are a good team, but they do fall third in the division. For the NFC East, I have the Eagles as the number 1 team, the Commanders at 2, the Cowboys at 3, and the Giants at 4. That's also a flip-flop, third and fourth. But it's just, I don't know, with a healthy Cowboys offense with Dak, CD, and then you add George Pickens. I know that defense has some issues, but if they're going head against the Giants, last minute or so, I think the Cowboys offense is gonna have a much better shot at winning that game than the Giants offense. And I know the Giants have a much better defense than the Cowboys on paper, but it's just I don't know, just the feeling on offense to me. I feel like there's going to be more consistency if they're healthy. As for the NFC South, I have the Bucs winning it, Falcons at 2, Panthers at 3, Saints at 4. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Maybe Bryce Young takes that next step, but I think Michael Penix played pretty well to where the Falcons as a whole could still be the second
Nobody's
seed.
talking about the Falcons. Right. I could see them. There's a scenario where they do make the playoffs in that division.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think Baker he's silenced a lot of doubters.
Right.
And I love how the Bucs are. I love the Bucs.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think the Falcons, there's some games that they can win and they could be dangerous.
Right. And for the last division, I have the NFC West. I still have the 49ers winning that division. Rams at 2, Cardinals at 3, and Seahawks at 4. It's just, I have a weird feeling with Sam Darnold. I can't think of any examples right now, but I feel like these quarterbacks who kind of break out or have that comeback year with that really good offensive coach, they go to a new system that they may not do as well just because they don't have that familiarity, and now they're kind of on their own. They're already seen as established. I think that Darnold struggles.
Plus, can Smith and Jigba be that true number 1?
Exactly.
And also, can Cooper Kupp stay healthy?
Right.
Because he's there too, and yeah.
Absolutely. So that's just what I'm seeing there. For the playoff teams, I only have one minor tweak. The Packers I still have as the 1 seed. I just have a really good feeling they just completely take over the NFC. The second seed I have the Eagles. The third seed I still have the 49ers, and the fourth seed I still have the Buccaneers. I think that the division winners should be the same, even with this being a revised prediction here. But for the playoffs, this is where I do a little bit different. I still have the Rams as the 5 seed. I did move the lines up to the 6 seed. I still think they're going to take a step down, but I feel like they're still good enough as a whole. Their coach is still going to have them prepared at all times. I still have them as a 6th seed. As for the 7th seed, Nate, I agree with you. I'm taking the Cardinals. Hey. I think they take. I do think that they take that next step forward. Kyler Murray, even though he hasn't won a playoff game, he still has playoff experience. Now they've gone through this mini rebuild. I think Marvin Harrison takes that next step up. Trey McBride's still going to be arguably their number 1 option, even if Harrison takes that step up. And I think their defense can really compete with anyone in the NFC. So I feel like
Falcons over Commanders.
No, there's no Falcons.
I'm sorry, I meant Cardinals. I meant Cardinals.
And the reason why, I love the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is awesome. He's a winner. He's a playoff winner. I have a bad feeling there's going to be a sophomore slump. Now there's expectations. I know Terry
that kid's
McLaurin.
Cool as ice, though. He
is.
And that
I agree.
coaching staff and that GM, I just love
it. It is. It's just sometimes we see all these good and it just kind of doesn't work out. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I have a weird feeling. Sometimes we have to be bold in these predictions because you don't know what's going to happen in the NFL, and I have a bad feeling. I want the Commanders to win the division. I think that would be awesome for that fan base, but I just have a bad feeling they just take a step down. But Jaden Daniels is their guy. He's going to make them a winner every other year, and who knows, the Commanders could be 10-7 and miss the playoffs, but I just have a bad feeling that they're the team.
10-7s missing the playoffs.
Right, so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm sorry if I went too long, but that's where I'm at.
I went longer, but...
Yeah, well, yeah, okay.
I think can I say something about Jaden Daniels?
Please.
I think with him though, I think his running ability, I think the floor for him is higher than a lot of these quarterbacks like a CJ Stroud or something going into their second year. Just because I think if some breaks down, we saw, he's so great at moving and instinctually, I think they'll be okay. But I do see a lot of people really hyping up the Commanders, and is they won 12-5. Can they replicate that? I think there is questions there if they can do that. Mm-hmm. So go ahead, Peyton. Sorry, but
so, boys, I'm sticking to my guns. I'm not making revisions. No, I'm just kidding. I would make revisions, but I mean the only team I want to revise. I'll go over who I have real quickly. I had the Bears making the playoffs, and I do agree with Nate that their schedule is tough. You look at some of these other teams, these better run organizations, but I'm still sticking with them.
You criticize me.
I'm still sticking with.
With me.
Because I'm sticking. I disagree with you because I'm still sticking with the Bears.
You agree
you
with
have
me,
a
but
point.
You disagree.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I want to take them out, but look, I look at these teams, the 49ers. I don't like what's going on there. Little Brock Purdy.
All right, that's
we have
he's a playoff winner.
I don't care what he is. We have Kyle Shanahan who's in over his head. Now, the 49ers I think could make it because now the Rams have this Matt Stafford back injury. They might get off to a slow start, which might benefit the 49ers.
But the Rams always figure it out. You know what I mean?
They always do. And then the Lions, I just expect a downgrade this year with the new coordinators. I think Jared Goff, he's due for a down year. I really like this Ben Johnson. I think he's pushing Caleb in the right direction. I don't know. Could I see the Bears going 7-10? Yes.
So how many wins do you think they get?
That's like him with the Cardinals. I'm taking my chance. I think they're about a 9-10 win team.
Is that enough?
For the 7th seed, yeah, that's where I have them. So, I mean, you think typically the 7th seed wins about 10 games. So 9-10 games.
I have a couple missing at 10.
So,
I think the top is good.
I didn't write down divisions and win. I didn't go over every schedule. This is just my gut feelings. So I have no revisions. Commanders. So here's what's interesting. So Nate or Jake has the Packers as the number 1 seed. Nate doesn't even have the Packers making the playoffs. I have the Commanders as winning the division and as the number 1 seed.
Wow.
And Jake doesn't even have them making the playoffs. So there's a wide range of opinions here. But yeah, it's Commanders. I think the Packers, I had the Rams probably a higher seed. I don't think they're going to be as high of a seed now with they're going to start off a little slower. They may be a wild card, and maybe the Seahawks or the 49ers win the division. The Cardinals, I just think Kyler Murray has hit his ceiling. I just think he's too inconsistent. His attitude is not consistent. I think that this is the last year of Kyler Murray in Arizona. So Rams, Bucks, Packers, Eagles. I love the Seahawks. Yeah, I've talked about this. I love their draft. I love the Sam Darnold move. I like the coach. I have the Seahawks making the playoffs with the Eagles and the Bears as the wild card teams. And then AFC is all the same. Bills, Ravens is the number 1 seed. Chiefs, Texans, Chargers, Patriots. not the Bengals and the Broncos. You took out
Patriots. I took out the Patriots.
You took out the Patriots. He has the Patriots, but not the Broncos.
I think
Correct,
the Patriots win 10 games, but they miss. Like I think they're the one. Like they're the first team out. But okay, very good, very nice. You're completely wrong, but I like that you mentioned them all. And
yeah, we'll see about that. These things are unpredictable.
They are.
You have injuries. And it's how you value coaches and players. I mean, and it's hard.
Well, when I said I value the Vikings coaching and players, he said you gave me so much flack for it.
Well, yeah, because I disagree with you.
But it's unpredictable. So how do you know?
But I'm saying I disagree. I don't. Where are you getting?
You were saying like, oh, it's so unpredictable. We just don't know. And then you gave me so much flack for my picks.
Yeah, because I disagree.
But it's unpredictable. How do you know?
Moving on. You're just.
I didn't say anything.
The point of it is to
picks.
argue. The
But
point
I didn't
of it is
argue with you.
Well, I want to argue with you.
Oh, well, now I'm arguing with you.
Please do. I have no problem with that at all. So, but like it's just we have a wide variety of opinions. That was my point, and you didn't let me finish. There's a wide variety of opinions here based on how you value certain teams and certain players. So. That's why I'm saying it's unpredictable, because there's so many different opinions and so many different ways to value things. So, all right, go ahead. Take over the show, Jake Bell.
All right, sounds good. So we'll dive into more like specific NFL stuff. I know we want to do Steelers, a little bit of the Browns and the Raiders with the whole Kenny Pickett thing, and also Trey Hendrickson. But let's start with the Steelers roster. Obviously, the 53-man roster is set. The big one that had a lot of people talking was Beanie Bishop getting cut, or he's on the practice squad, I should say. But he's a guy that had 4 interceptions as an undrafted free agent, and a lot of people didn't like that he got cut. Personally, I felt that it made sense. I know we talked about this in the group chat, but I thought it made sense compared to, I don't think they get worse at cornerback with Beanie Bishop moving to the practice squad. I mean, he was an undrafted cornerback, and if you look at his tape, like you see a lot of interceptions where he completely blew the coverage, and he happened to be behind the cornerback that made the nice play and caught a tipped interception. There was one interception I saw where I was like, okay, that's not a bad play at all. But other than that, it just seemed like he did not. He was there because of the injuries on the defensive side of the ball, and it really showed. And I actually think they do get better. But I'd like to get your guys' opinion, obviously, on the Steelers' 53-man roster, even if you just want to talk Beanie Bishop, but just your thoughts in general. So
I'm trying to find their. Go ahead, Nate.
We're looking for
their roster. We're looking for the roster right now.
Let me talk about Beanie Bishop while I'm typing this in here. I agree, Jake. We talked about that extensively, even like during the season, about Beanie Bishop, kind of right place, right time kind of things. I do think like if he would have made the roster, like he would have made the roster if they didn't, add Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay and stuff. But they got better adding those players, and so I think it's not when, like initially I was like he should have still made the roster, I think. But then you go through like who actually made, and you're like, oh, that makes sense actually. So I like that he's still, still there. But now actually, the Dante Kent one, that kind of surprised me. He was kind of.
He is on IR to start the year, short-term IR with Will Howard.
Okay,
but he is on the team.
Yeah, that kind of surprised because you didn't he was kind of a name that a lot of fans weren't familiar with until like training camp and everything.
Well, he was the seventh. He was a 7th round pick.
Yeah, and he has experience as a returner and in the special team. So at least there's some value there.
That's right. He's a Central Michigan guy.
Right. So so that kind of separates him from a Beanie Bishop.
Maybe that was just me. I guess that was just me. That was just a me issue actually. But guys, sorry. I just want to say that about Beanie Bishop. But I mean, not too many surprises here when you look at it. A lot of people are like Connor Hayward making the team, and then some of the players that got cut.
They put him as tight end / fullback, so he's contributing at fullback. Supposedly, we're gonna have some plays with fullbacks this year, and Arthur Smith typically likes to do that, but we didn't see that much last year, I don't think.
Yeah, I can't. Unless he was secretly a fullback, we didn't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so other things, only 5 wide receivers. We kind of talked about that a little bit. Usually there's 6 wide receivers you take.
You got to think they're adding a receiver.
But that's what you did anticipate.
Yeah.
And also, I think on the defensive line, some of the guys like Daniel Ekwale, he was doing well in preseason. I remember seeing that, but that was kind of, you didn't hear that name too much until
Who?
then. Daniel Ekwale, he was like the D lineman guy. I remember I saw him against, like, he was doing well like in the Panthers game.
Oh yes.
But and also they're very.
Okay, I have a question. I don't mean to interrupt. Who is Esizi Otomewu?
He was.
Who is that?
That was like surprised that he kind of made it too, because he was one of like the practice squad, I thought, kind of players who played like later in the preseason games. But I guess he impressed the team enough to bring him on the initial 53-man roster. But they're very high on Logan Lee, the Steelers are. And he came in. What did he come in? Was he the punter for the one situation? Or what was he? He was the long snapper. They had him long snap because Christian Kuntz got hurt.
Oh, is he the new long snapper?
No, he's not. But in the one preseason game, they had the.
It was like he's an emergency long
snapper.
They have it somewhere.
I mean, they don't say.
It says Christian Kuntz actually still, but he was like hurt.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, it'll be interesting. Cole Holcomb. It'll be interesting to see what the Steelers get out of him coming off it. I liked him when he was healthy.
Yeah.
In 2023, but it was just injuries and everything last year. Patrick Queen, it's a big year. Jack Sawyer, there's some questions about. I like his, like, when he gets around the quarterback. I like him just tackling wise, but does he have enough of that speed to get there? I think
Who
he
we
has the
talking
bull.
about?
Jack Sawyer, because I was watching the film and
I was really impressed with him. I gotta be honest. I was impressed.
I'm
with
impressed,
him.
but I just like it feels like he goes in slow motion sometimes when he's going to the quarterback a little bit. That was like the thing coming out of college. It was like he's a little bit on the slower end. If he can increase that speed, so I don't know, somehow he could be really good.
He's got T.J. Watt as a mentor. I'm sure he'll keep developing.
That really helps.
I really think he can make an impact now. Like I watching him in camp in some of the games, like he's big. Like, I didn't realize how big he was.
He's like Jack. Like,
he is big.
I mean,
big
it could be
man.
an Alex Highsmith situation, because they were. I mean, Highsmith was drafted, I think, around earlier, but yeah.
And that's why, and I didn't understand why we paid Highsmith, because we knew Herbig is a stud. Now you draft Jack Sawyer. It's like, did we really need to give Highsmith that contract? But I mean, so far he's lived up to it. So I don't, but it's just the defensive spending. That's another topic.
Yeah, so I don't have anything else. I mean, I think it's a better roster than last year, but I think they could end with the worst. I think they will end with the worst record, because I think the Bengals are better, and I think the schedule's tougher. I think there's a lot of, these NFC North games are going to be really difficult. Some turning point games, at the Patriots, at the Bears, at home against the Packers. These are some games where a lot of people have them losing. If you steal one of those road games or something, that could change your fortunes and that. But I just don't see it. I think those are really tight games, but I just think it'll be tough. And then they play at the Lions, they play the Bills at home. I don't know if they beat the Ravens this year. So I think it's gonna be tough. But I think the roster overall looks better than it has in a couple years, actually. I think it's a talented roster, but the question, as always, is what's the quarterback position going to be? What's Aaron going to look like? If he lights the world on fire, this could be a dangerous team. But I just don't. He's old, and you've heard all the things about him.
Right.
But I want to believe. I so want to believe in Aaron Rodgers.
It's still like it's gonna be weird just seeing.
I'm very looking forward. I'm very looking forward to watching them, like, more than most years, just to see like how it looks.
This week one game. This is a big week one game, because if you look like garbage against the Jets, like, I don't care that it's week one. Like, you got to beat the Jets, like, pretty handily for me to even consider them somewhat of a playoff contender. Like, you got to take care of the Jets. You shouldn't be giving up a bunch of points to the Jets. This Jets offense with Fields. Right. And the Jets defense, I think, is going to be good, but you should be scoring at least 20 points, 24 points against the Jets. Again, you should be winning that game kind of low scoring, 20-13, 20-10.
That'll be a game
24-10, like something like that.
That'll be a game like last season when they played the Broncos, where it's like you can't gain anything about how the defense, like if it's back to being like an elite kind of defense, because like with the Broncos last year, Bo Nix's second game, and you're playing, the Steelers and everything. And we saw, obviously, the Steelers' defense just be atrocious at the end of the season. That's a game, too, with Fields. I want him to succeed, but he hasn't looked good in the preseason and from what we're hearing in camp with his throwing. So, but yeah, so that's a game where, like, you gotta, like, you won't really – they gotta lock down on the Jets, but even if they do, you won't gain anything on if they're that – top 5 kind of defense that they need to be for the Steelers to be in the playoff and potentially winning a playoff game conversation. So
yeah, I'll a couple of different things. Let's see here. I don't know. I think I lost my train of thought. So right now, I think the most interesting thing about the roster overall right now, there's 8 defensive linemen. Like, that kind of seems off.
A little excessive.
And there's 5 wide receivers. So I think this Esizu guy, or Aquale, one of these weird name guy, I can't say their names right.
Disrespectful.
Well, it's the truth. I don't know them. I don't know their names.
You said these weird name guys.
They're weird names because I don't know their name. I don't know how to say it. Not that it's weird. Maybe weird is the right term. Whatever. Just be quiet over there. But they're getting a receipt. For them to not add there were a bunch of guys who were like, look good enough to be the 6th wide receiver on the team. But they're looking for a wide receiver too. And I think I'm really hoping that we can go out and get Jacoby Myers. I think he's a solid 2 for this team. Would be a solid 2. He requested a trade, and the Raiders did just get Amari Cooper. Now, Amari Cooper isn't a 1 anymore.
That was good to see that. That was like a good.
That's a good reunion.
We've seen a lot of reunions like in the past week, like Thielen going back.
Yeah,
Keenan Allen.
Brandon
a little bit
Shout out to
Brandon
Kay
Cooks,
Adams for getting that. We love Kay Adams, but where'd Brandon Cook? Saints. They need something over there. But yeah, I mean, Calvin, you need a 2 there. Like, unless they really feel comfortable with John, I don't know. But I think that's the most interesting thing. And I gotta give a shout out. We gotta give some respect to Skylar Thompson. I don't think anyone really took him seriously at all. I don't really give a crap about preseason at all. But
he looked crazy good in preseason.
I mean, I think it was fortunate that Will Howard got hurt and he's on that short-term IR because I don't know if the Steelers could have said, well, we're keeping Will Howard just because he's our 6th-round pick. Like, well, Skylar may not have got the same opportunity.
They were gonna keep Will Howard.
Yes, so I think that was a blessing in disguise for the Steelers and having that Skylar Thompson, because if Skylar Thompson can do half of what he did in the preseason, if he needs to step up into a regular season game, hopefully it doesn't come to that. But like, I think he's earned it. Will Howard, I feel bad for. I hope he's not on. I hope he, isn't on IR too long, and he'll get his reps. But yeah, Skylar Thompson would have been gone if they would have let him go. As far as our cornerbacks, the big improvement of this team is the defensive backs, but we have to see it. On paper, it looks much better, but we have to see it. I think. Because on paper, it looks better, right? They have a lot of different guys. Like, that's kind of pushed Beanie Bishop out of the equation. I think for an undrafted rookie, he did very well. Was he probably below average? Yes. Did he get lucky on some picks? Yes. But I think he's a guy who can really develop.
He took advantage of those.
And I could look into I think he's a guy who can develop into a really good slot corner in the NFL. But there's just no room for him on this roster. And I think this Dante Kent can be valuable in multiple facets, like you said, with the special teams. He's going to be on short-term IR. They brought in somebody else. But I hope I'm concerned that someone's going to pick him up off our practice squad eventually, Beanie Bishop, but hopefully not. All of the guys we signed to our practice squad were from the team, from the original 90-man. So
how about Leal too? Like him getting
that was a big story.
In favor of those guys that we don't know. Like, and Leal was playing pretty good. Like he had some penalties in the preseason, but he was like looking pretty good. They moved him to defensive end, so I guess that was the thing. Like they had too many defensive ends.
Yeah,
it's a bad look. I mean, he was a 3rd-round pick. If you look at the Steelers draft classes, the end of the Colbert era, it's not
Colbert.
good.
Yeah.
Colbert, I'm sorry.
That's funny.
Stephen Colbert is on my mind, apparently.
Well, I remember DeMarvin Leal. Like, I remember them drafting him. I'm like, wow, I think he was a 5-star recruit. He was out of Texas A&M, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember looking at that, and I was like, oh, like they got this guy that had this high pedigree. I wonder if he could do something. It's a shame it didn't work out, but I assume they made the right decision because I mean they know more about the defensive line than I would. So we'll just have to see how they do.
The defensive, okay, I got to mention this because this could have been a major storyline of our podcast, but unfortunately it's not. Derek Harmon playing till the end of the first quarter, we thought it was a really serious injury. He was carted off. He looked like he had a bad expression. And
he was emotional.
This team was all about D-line this offseason. D-line. We need the first-round pick on the D-line. You can't have back-to-back years where your first-round pick is out for the year. Thank goodness he's only going to be out for a game or a couple of games. But that was really costly. That could have been really costly and for no good reason. So I'm glad that he's going to be okay. And I like I said, the cornerbacks and defensive line on paper is much better. This Y.A. Black, if he could be 3/4 of what he did in the preseason, he looks like a man, dude. Like he looks like
he fell in the draft too. Like I remember watching the draft, he was constantly number 1 available, not just at his position, but overall. And the Steelers were like, "Whoa, it was a 4th round or something." It's like, why not take this guy? Like we want to add on.
He
the
was
defensive
like,
line.
I think he was like best available for like a while.
He was,
yeah. So, dude, I think he should be stepping up this year. Obviously, I like Keanu and Cam. Although Cam's coming in with some negative energy this year. We got to be honest. But, I mean, on paper, those parts of the team are much better. Linebackers, I have concerns, obviously. Patrick Queen, he's a top 100 player, apparently. But, it's him and Wilson. I think Wilson is going to take a step up this year, especially with the run defense, because we know he can play coverage. He proved that last year, but he has to be a better run defender, and I think he will. I think that's a big key. Patrick Queen was just below average in all aspects last year, and I don't expect that to change. Let's see. And I think the big thing, Cole Holcomb and Malik Harrison are run guys, are run stoppers, right? So we expect them to step up in that scenario. I hope that they give Cole Holcomb. I want to really see what he can do now after this injury. I want to see what he can do early on in the season. I hope they rotate those 4 linebackers. No, Harrison can't cover at all. That's why I didn't understand why we got rid of Elandon Roberts, because Elandon Roberts was basically he was basically the same as Harrison, but actually a better run defender. So I think our linebacker core, middle linebacker anyway, has some concerns. We already talked about edge. So, I mean, that's kind of like what caught my attention. Oh, and we have to mention Nate's favorite part of this camp, the beautiful punting battle. These guys are going
down to the wire battle.
These are going at it like warriors, these guys. And Corliss Waitman winning. I think a lot of people thought it was going to be Johnston.
I just didn't care. I was just like, I don't
what
care.
Are your analysis?
I was just
the media, we were just saying the media was all over this punting battle.
Because it was like the only battle, so they were just hyping it up way too much.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're like the same. I don't really care.
Yeah.
What Waitman is, he was fine. What was Cameron Johnson? Whatever. If he,
I probably kind of like Cameron Johnson a little more. I think he's a little more consistent, but
it's
whatever.
a cool story with Waitman. Just
Cameron Johnson's a cool story.
Any punter story.
Australian football player.
That is true. Yeah.
Any punter story is like a cool story usually.
Cool story, bro.
But that kind of bothered me. But it was funny.
Yeah.
So,
hey, did Ben Sauls get picked up anywhere yet?
Oh, I thought
is he on the practice squad or is
No.
he's not? Okay, I wasn't sure if he just got outright cut.
They wouldn't have a kicker on the practice squad.
Yeah, you never know, I guess. But
Because
I hope he does
who was
get a
it that
chance.
was looking for a kicker? That somebody got hurt.
Dolphins, I think.
Was it the Dolphins?
I think that our buddy
Sanders.
Yeah,
I don't
our
think
buddy Connor Howard gave me that update. The Dolphins, I think Jeff Sanders got hurt or something.
Sauls is he was waived, and that's all. He's a free agent right now.
Okay,
Somebody got to pick him up.
I know. Like he.
Like, look at the tape last year. Look at the
Look at
tape,
the tape.
dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Come on.
he'd easily be our kicker if we didn't have like one of the top 3 kickers in the league.
Yeah.
And then the for a little bit there, the Boswell contract situation was a little uncertain. No, there wasn't.
Have they figured that out yet? Or is he remaining? Is he?
I haven't heard anything since the initial.
Another interesting storyline: the Steelers actually holding their ground with Cam Hayward. They got him to return to practice. I am shocked. Now they could still give in, but like he stopped his holdout. So obviously he kind of gave up.
I think he heard the criticisms of the fan base.
Yeah.
I think nationally too, where it's like
You're 37 years old. You don't get a new
and he
contract.
waited until
Yeah.
he didn't it just didn't make any sense.
And you have to look at it this way: the Steelers. I mean, obviously they had no choice, but they paid him all that money while he was hurt, and that they gave him still that compensation. And now you have that breakout year that the Steelers knew you would, or not breakout year, but that comeback year. And all of a sudden you want a new contract. I don't think that would be fair.
And his
to the
rationale
Steelers.
was not. It didn't
Right.
make much sense.
Yeah.
So anything else on the Steelers? We got to move to some other things here.
No, we'll talk a lot of football next week.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So do you guys want to go to the Kenny Pickett and Trey Hendrickson stuff, or you guys want to go to the
Well,
Pirates?
I want to talk more about the Browns. I want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about the Browns.
Yeah.
I honestly don't want to talk about Kenny Pickett.
No worries. I know you guys
We'll
mentioned that, but
mention-
yeah, we'll talk Browns for sure.
I think clearly the owner, I mean, we've talked about this before, is pushing for Shedeur to eventually be the starter this year, because that's the only plausible reason I could say that they traded Kenny Pickett. The other times Pickett's been traded, it's been for other reasons, but this is just the Browns being the Browns. They're clearly the Browns. They're clearly, and I know that the coach and the GM are not happy about it, but this is the owner getting Shedeur up a little bit higher up the depth chart.
pool.
The depth chart.
Okay.
I mean, Shedeur looked kind of decent at first in that last preseason game. I mean, the problem with Shedeur, I mean, his ego not only gets in the way of him getting drafted high, but it's clearly getting in the way of his play because he thinks that he's a special athlete that can
This isn't college
You're not
anymore.
Lamar Jackson. You can't hold on to the ball forever and run around. You're not that kind of athlete. And we saw that in that last preseason game. Now, granted, he's against guys who are going to be, looking for employment soon on the offensive line. But he was holding the ball way too long, running 30 yards backwards. The whole situation is just, it is exciting. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, how can you be excited?
It's
I don't think as a
interesting.
Browns fan, if you look at it, this play on the field, and I know it's preseason, I don't know how you could be excited about any situation from the quarterback standpoint right now. I mean, Flacco, you got to hope he gets back to his form 2 years ago, right? So obviously, I think he was the right guy to be the starter. I think that was the right decision. And then Dylan Gabriel, I'm not high on at all, but at least, you know what? I'll give Dylan Gabriel this. He's fitting within the offense. He's making the right decisions. He's doing what the coaches are asking him to do. He's being coachable. He's getting the ball in and out of his hands. Offensive coaches like Stefanski want their quarterbacks to fit within the scheme. And that's what Dylan Gabriel does. But I just think the ceiling is extremely low with him.
He's shorter, which is it's a big issue.
And he's not a third-round pick.
But you have to think going into the draft, we all thought maybe he'd be a day 3 pick or maybe go undrafted. But obviously the Browns saw something in him that made him worth a third-round pick. I don't think Shedeur Sanders was on their mind at all until ownership kind of took over. But, I mean, they see something in Dylan Gabriel. I mean, if they feel like he's going to make the right decisions, I feel they're going to really try to push to the owner and say, hey, we think this kid fits our system more than Sanders.
Unless Flacco goes back to what he did 2 years ago, Stefanski,
which should be cinema.
Then they're obviously gonna move off him to see what their younger Dylan Gabriel could do, and then Dylan Gabriel ain't gonna do anything, and that's when the owner's gonna push in Shedeur.
I think I'm higher on Dylan Gabriel though. I mean, I think he can be a slightly lesser version of Tua. I think he in the college he did really solid.
He wasn't that great in the pre's. He had some picks. I mean,
it's also growing pains too. Like
we're comparing him to Shedeur. Like this isn't.
Can I say? I just want to say something about the media thing with Shedeur this past weekend because.
What media? What are you talking about?
Oh, when he had one of the worst things we've seen, and everybody's like, "This is so unfair to Shedeur. He actually didn't play bad." I saw people say, it wasn't that bad, really.
It's rigged against him. There's this thing in this our American society. And we like somebody a lot. Well, it's rigged against them. It's all the forces that be are against them.
Yeah, like the Browns, they were like, oh, like Dylan Gabriel's playing with the twos and Shedeur's playing with the threes and everything. He was drafted before him. The Browns liked him more.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have taken Shedeur if, by all accounts, the owner didn't step in. They're just like everything's like against him, and it's just like an odd thing to defend him after that. Like if I was a Shedeur like lover, and I like Shedeur, I liked him I was higher on him than like most.
Yeah.
But like if you're a defender of him, you should have been real quiet instead of like being like, oh, everything's against him because. Like nothing the Browns have done. Like Stefanski.
Him and his dad did this to himself, and I sympathize with Shedeur because I feel like know if he was in a better situation, if he was had a different thought process, he could be good. I really think that, but it's just that doesn't seem to change.
Like the thing that like Stefanski's against him and everything, the Browns are like if the Steelers took him or any franchise took him like in the 5th round or something, they would treat him the exact like Skylar Thompson, our 3rd-string quarterback right now. He's playing with the third team or the whatever or the backup sometimes, whereas Mason Rudolph's playing with the backups more and rarely with the 3rd team. You know what I mean? So like, there's nothing abnormal about this whole thing, but it's like Stefanski. They all have something against him. Well, Stefanski, if he does, it's because like Stefanski and the GM by all accounts didn't want to draft him anyway.
I mean, you never draft 2 quarterbacks in the same draft, except that rare time where the Steelers drafted Oladokun in the 7th round, which is kind of odd. But like other than that, it's not like
draft class. Holy crap!
We can look at some Steelers draft classes recently.
Gosh. That's why I was saying the end of the Colbert era was a disaster.
Yeah. So it was just like that, and again, like I've been like clear on this. I like Shedeur Sanders. I think he could be something, but he's not like
he's got to change what he's doing out. He's got to work on trying
you're not
to
playing
fit.
Colorado State, right? When
you got to fit within the offense.
With all due respect to Colorado.
You have to be focused on fitting within the offense and not making special plays. Like that's not the type of quarterback he needs to be right now.
And it's still in his head. Like he doesn't realize like he fell the 5th round. Like I thought this would be like a great thing for him. I still think it could be a great thing that he fell the 5th round because maybe it's some humbling. Like obviously this wasn't as severe of a drop off.
It's preseason, so
right.
Yeah.
And this isn't as severe of a drop off, but like Aaron Rodgers, he fell in the draft and he mentioned how like I was really cocky. Like I thought that was this big thing, and then I fell the draft. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'm not this great thing after all. Like maybe I have to really work. And obviously he became one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson too. Yeah. So
Lamar should have been taken higher though for sure. Like
he had a great response. It wasn't like this shouldn't have happened. He was like, I'm glad I'm with the team that wants me. I'm going to do everything I can to win. That type of stuff. And it seemed like I think Shedeur Sanders still has some time to kind of fix that and get humbled, but like we aren't seeing it yet.
I don't think like he's a total like what's the word?
Bust or bum or
a total like ungrateful kid.
Right.
Okay. If he would have he could have said a lot worse things. He's never complained about where he is, but he just has this. It's still this cocky thing, and if he would have just like done the right things in the preseason from on the field perspective. It just felt like his ego was on display on the field with some of those plays. It's just like, and I don't know. Maybe he's not. He just can't read the field right now. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah. We'll just have to see. I mean, yeah, I'm rooting for him for sure. But like these people, they're like defending him. And now they're trying to they try to do it during the draft, trying to make it like a racial thing. I just don't want to get into that, but like they're reaching for like he did a bad performance, and now you're reaching for like everybody's against him. Like I hope he succeeds and everything. And I think he's handled it like when he got drafted, he handled it well. Like it was like we've never seen that before. Like, and if I were in that situation, I'm maybe thought about as the second pick, right? Like to the Giants, we were thinking the Giants could they. And I fall to the 5th round, right? I mean, it would be such a devastation. I think I handled it well. And I think all of preseason, except like the last couple weeks, he's been like pretty good in terms of his performance and in terms of like how he's handled it.
What did he say? He said, "Are you making the team?" "I'm definitely making the team." He said, "I'm definitely."
Well, he's not wrong. The owner's going to
knows.
make it.
I mean, I guess I can't criticize him for that.
Yeah.
So,
but it's just like these people, they're like defend him at every stop, make it hard to, root completely for him, but I am rooting for him, and but yeah, I just didn't like what the immediate like, oh, it was actually like, okay, it wasn't. I mean, the O-line was just, it's terrible. I mean, what are these guys? And he's playing against the better competition. It's like, it's the NFL.
The guys on the defense they're packing groceries too next.
Oh yeah, they're
week.
just gonna stop. They're just gonna stop their pass rush.
Yeah, like
Shedeur
what?
Sanders.
Yeah.
Oh hell, Shedeur. But anyway, no. But I'm rooting for him. I want to reiterate that. But it's just like it was just a lot. I didn't even watch.
It's such a he's so polarized.
Right.
It's a distraction for him, too. I'm sure.
And it's a distraction for the Browns, who
that's why the coach doesn't like it.
That's
the GM. That's why they didn't want him.
Yeah.
That's a big thing too. That's why like Tebow could have been a backup for a long time in the NFL, but he was such a polarizing figure. Just because of everything.
But not in the way Shedeur was.
No, just like in the way that like, oh my God, like at Florida, he was such a wow guy, and it just didn't work out. No, Tebow, we've seen like recently he had this great event. He had like a red carpet for like, people with disabilities and stuff. He's a Tim Tebow. You won't find a greater person than Tim Tebow.
Especially, it's kind of crazy that team he was on in Florida, like everyone just had these issues.
Yeah.
And then he's like, this amazing guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's just
maybe that
crazy.
was like maybe he was like, you maybe like found something.
Yeah.
Like, because he saw that. But
right.
Anything else NFL? We're running along with that, but we gotta get stuff out.
So that's where we're transitioning to the Pirates, I assume?
Yeah, we'll just touch on
just
like
very small, yeah. So Pirates post trade deadline, they have some guys that, I think are performing well in the minors, a couple of them that were acquired. We also have Bubba Chandler getting called up. Johan Oviedo, in my opinion, is looking better than he ever has been after injury. So what are you guys' thoughts, just very briefly on, some August stuff?
I want to hear
from
you first, Jake Bell. I feel like you have some things on your mind.
Yeah. First, I'll start with a couple guys that the Pirates acquired. One was Colin Moss. I don't know where he came from. But he's pushing for a 400 batting average since joining the Pirates organization. I mean, this is a guy that just he completely is taking that step forward. And then you look at the contrast with Bailey Falter. I know he's hurt right now, but he just hasn't pitched well. And it makes sense now. Like, I know at the time we're like, this might not be the package maybe we wanted for Bailey Falter. But at the end of the day, you look at Oviedo coming up, performing well. I mean, he's the reason why they want to move off of Bailey Falter.
And Chandler
too, yeah. But Callum Moss, I mean, I don't know what he's going to do next year. I assume he's going to start the year in AA next year because he's had this entire season on high single A. But I really like what he's been able to do. He's been showing a lot more power than we thought initially. I mean, he was a guy that we were like, okay, he's a light-hitting first baseman, like without really watching any film on him. But he's hitting for some tremendous power right now. It's just really cool to see. And we're also seeing the big David Bednar acquisition, Rafael Flores kind of getting into his own in AAA. He had that rough start, but he had a multi-homer game. He's starting to look more like the MLB-ready player that they thought they were getting.
I want your opinion on this, Jay. This story, Rafael Flores was interviewed, and he said that the Yankees he noticed a difference between the Yankees and the Pirates. The Yankees were more focused on player development, whereas the Pirates are more focused on the team winning. And he said, it's nice to just focus on winning and not having to care about my development anymore. And that last part, not having to care about my development anymore.
Did he actually?
He said that. That is a quote.
Yeah, I didn't.
That is a direct quote.
I didn't hear that.
But
I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it's different in Double A and Single A, where that's really more like, okay, we need to develop these guys. I know Triple A, maybe. I'm just trying to look at the positive. Maybe they're thinking like, okay, you need to get ready to win now because you're about to get caught up in the MLB where there's so much stress on winning, especially at this point in the rebuild with the Pirates. I don't know if that could be the reason, because I know obviously you want to work on development in the AAA, but at the end of the day, you're facing guys that are either fringe MLB players, guys signing minor league contracts. Like you're facing, it's basically like you're going into spring training in the NFL, but every single day. That's what AAA has really become, aside from maybe these top prospects on the doorstep of making the MLB. That's kind of where I'm getting. Maybe it's just like, okay, we need to learn how to win now, so that whenever you come up, you have that kind of mindset where it's not all, okay, player development, even though obviously you need to develop the bats at the MLB level to win games. But that's just kind of where I'm at. But I guess I can transition to the pitchers getting called up. Obviously, Bubba Chandler, he's looking fantastic. Who knows what's going to happen? We know he struggled, at the his last couple starts with AAA, but it seems
he started out really strong.
He did.
If you look at his overall numbers in April, and then in May, and then once June hit, he actually has not been good. But he's looked very strong so far for the Pirates.
Oh, absolutely, and I think it was more frustration that he wasn't called up. I mean, he had that tremendous April, May, and parts of June, and it was like, okay, why am I not here yet? And now he's here, and it just seems like he's a lot more calm.
I was wondering, because the fact that he publicly was talking about it, I mean, even before spring training, he was like, I'm ready. Yeah. And I think he may have had a lack of focus.
Right.
I think that's a real possibility.
I agree. And I think they called him up at the right time where he was ready. He has all this experience in the minor leagues. They called him up when he's ready, and he's delivered in every aspect of his game, and he's really helped this pitching staff that we already know can be a playoff pitching staff if they're at full strength. So I'm curious to see how... I hope that he can eventually get into that rotation spot with guys like Braxton Ashcraft pitching so well. It's hard. And Johan Oviedo too. It's so hard to move them out. And I think maybe he's going to take Majinski's spot in the rotation. But they'll probably pitch the same amount of innings. But
has Majinski been starting games?
But less innings than he used to.
Just keep him as a reliever.
Yeah. They had him pitch 3 innings, and he gave up 1 run.
That I don't understand. You have so many starting pitchers now. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Right. And I think eventually they'll make that flip-flop where Chandler starts and Majinski's relieving, but they'll pitch the same amount of innings anyway. But that's kind of my thought process. Just, kind of the things that stood out to me post-trade deadline as we're into August, as we're, heading into the fall. So.
I don't really have anything to add. I mean, with Chandler in his first 2 outings here, what's really surprising, we knew he had the gas. We knew he had that 100. But his command, for the most part, he hit a guy, and there was I think he had a walk or some in the one, but his command has been, so much better. I think it does kind of lend to what you guys were saying, kind of maybe it was a lack of focus. I guess it was the right time to bring him up. I was a big proponent, he's in AAA, he's not performing well. Does he deserve to actually be brought up? But then they bring him up. I guess that's their reason to justify maybe getting rid of Falter is all that we knew they had the depth. But now, Braxton Ashcraft has been just tremendous. I think Burrows, they're skipping his turn in the rotation.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
He was supposed to pitch. We're recording this on Friday night against the Red Sox. But they're skipping. They've been limiting his innings. So I think he's not going to be in the road, but he's shown a lot.
I like him.
He looks like
a
decent 4 or 5 starter, but we have so many guys. It's does he fit in?
Right.
I don't know.
Maybe they trade him for a bat. Who knows? But I still want to see what he can do, though.
What are you going to get?
Right.
They barely got anything for Bailey Falter.
I don't even want to hear
Bailey he was apparently a non-tender candidate.
I just don't even want to hear any trade proposals.
No trade.
I'm just thinking of the logical.
I just hearing that. It's just Ben Chesson. But yeah, I want to talk about Callum Moss for a second because we were kind of really poo-pooing that trade because it was not only like the return,
Bailey
but it was
Falter
like,
I mean, it's sad what's happening. I really think I feel bad for Bailey. I think he really wanted to be here.
Oh,
I mean,
because this is where he developed into a solid player.
And the fact that the Pirates, I don't care how good this trade turns out for them. The fact the Pirates were saying, "Oh, he's a non-tender candidate," is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I don't care how bad he does. With how he was performing the last 2 years with the Pirates, there was no way. Now this Callan Moss better turn out to be good. And now this Evan Sisk looks kind of decent.
I don't mind him. I know he struggled to start, but I think he can be a reliable.
Yeah, he'll be a.
I still don't. Callan Moss has to be a really good. Has to be a solid. Has to contribute to the big league team and some. But I still don't like the trade. I know we've seen some positive things. I still don't like the value that we got there. But I mean, if Bailey Falter really doesn't get back on track, then it's definitely not going to look as bad for sure. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, just the power. It's just been really surprising because, like you mentioned, Jake, he wasn't somebody who was known for his power at all in the minor leagues. And he's been I mean, every game almost, it seems like you're seeing Callan Moss homers for Greensboro. Also, Jared Jones has been homering like crazy. He had 2 homers yesterday.
I know he was struggling. I didn't see that, though.
Recently, I think, he had the 2-homer it'll be it'll be interesting to track his development. But I want to mention Jared Triolo. We have to mention Jared Triolo.
I forgot about him, yeah.
He's been on fire. He's raised his batting average like 700 points, you know, I mean, or 70. 70. I'm sorry, 700. That would be insane. 70 points. Math. I'm mathing right now, but he's just been tremendous, and he's hitting for extra bases. We've seen the power. 2 consecutive games he hit it to left field at PNC Park, and he cleared it pretty good, which says something because it's so hard to hit homers to left as a right-handed hitter at PNC Park, but. Yeah, I guess he changed it where his hands are in his swing when he went down to AAA for a little bit, and he's been excellent since then. So you got to give him props. But as for Jack Sawinski, it's been more of the same. He's just not getting any hits. He's not actually he's putting the ball in play, but it's just like pop-outs right now. He's actually not striking out that much, and he's walking a bunch.
Over.
He just
the experiment with him is over.
Unfortunately, he just has such a one-dimensional swing where he eliminates the outside part of the plate because of his swing, and he can't hit for power the opposite way.
It's down the middle, bro. Like that's literally it. Like he's just not. It was a one-year wonder. I mean, for him to be this bad is crazy. Like how he ended up, but like. If they bring him back, if they don't add to the outfield again and say, well, we're going to give Jack Sawinski another chance, I might like roll on this carpet here, and just fall down on my face. I don't even know like what to say anymore.
But honestly, like with like going a little off topic from Sawinski, like if Triolo continues to be like a valuable like option, if they're able to somehow grab or have a third baseman that can hit for power, like if Triolo is your starting shortstop, like would that be the worst thing in the world? Like it would be if you have IKF at third base who's not hitting for power. I love IKF.
I don't
they
think
bring him back.
I agree. Yeah, I mean if he's hitting like this, if he can hit like in between like last season and his rookie year where he hit 298 and was like on base and everything. Like if he's a 250, 260 guy and he gets on base like he does,
and the excellent defense at short,
and he hits
a
dozen homers, like as a short. I mean, I think you would take that if you can get a quality third baseman.
Exactly. Like you can't. I love IKF. If they bring him back, I'd be all for it. If he's more of a utility guy, not an everyday starter at third base,
more of a depth piece.
But you can't have him as your everyday third baseman next year. If
he's actually played well defensively.
He has. I mean, he provides that value defensively. It's just. Corner infield, you need that power. That's the reason I think that they should have traded Hayes, and that's why they did. I mean, you lack that power in the corner infield, and I think Horwitz, with a full year, maybe he could hit 20 home runs, but like you still need to match that power at third base. So,
yeah, again, as far as the trade, again, I don't understand. We talk about IKF, like what is he doing here? I mean, he's just taking at bats away from Peguero. And other guys that could be getting at bats. And I like IK. I understand he's a pro. He's a consummate pro. But why did we not trade him? I don't know. Why did we not at least attempt to, like, did they try to trade Andrew Heaney and literally no one was interested?
That's my guess.
Potentially that was the case because he was, I mean, now he's DFA'd. He's gone. So I guess everyone knew that he was just declining real bad this year. But still, I mean, IKF and Tommy Pham, you could have really got something for him because, I mean, the way he's been hitting and is still hitting is unbelievable. And in fact, I am officially on the re-sign Tommy Pham train.
Him and IKF
It's been such a turnaround because me and him, we've had a tough relationship, me and Tommy Pham.
I think I've certainly.
But it's a love story, like Taylor and no, I'm just kidding. But I'm all for re-signing Tommy Pham. I am, but that's only if there's a thing. There's you have to add another outfielder with Tommy Pham for because with his eye situation, with his age, you cannot rely on him to have a full season. But I think if his eye is right, like this may sound silly, but if his eye is right, like he can still produce. Like he's proving it. Like the numbers show it. We see it every day now. Like it's actually insane what he can do. And I don't think this is a fluke. Like, I think that this is kind of what he's been doing his whole career. And I think his numbers could have been better if you look at his overall career if he didn't have this eye situation for the most of his career. So, I guess we could have really got something for Tommy Pham, but if they end up re-signing him, I'm okay with them keeping him. So I'm not as mad about the Brentals not being traded as I was before. But let's talk. You talked about Triolo. Generally, no. I'm not a fan of Triolo that much. He's not a natural shortstop, but he has the range to do it. And I think if he really works on it defensively, he can be a very good defensive shortstop, no problem. Generally, I would say no. We need a much better upgrade than we need an actual upgrade. But we know the Pirates struggle to find players in free agency. And they have so many holes that they need to fill. So I have really no problem. I mean, I wouldn't say I don't have no problem, but I would understand if they kept Triolo at shortstop and had him fill that hole, if they fill the other big holes that they have. You talk about third base. You need 2 outfielders at least. That may include Tommy Pham again, but maybe they need to actually invest, maybe get an extra center fielder too. They need to invest in the outfield. And also because I think Brian Reynolds needs to move to being a full-time DH. In left field, everyone kind of complained about his defense. I said it wasn't really that noticeable. But this year in right field, it's like he's gotten worse. They moved him to right field because they thought it would be easier for him, but it's actually been harder. He's been much worse. That's just the whole disaster. So you either move him back to left field, which I don't think they're going to do because then they're going to look stupid, or they move him to full-time DH. And I think that's the right move because they're not going to go out and pay a full-time DH. Kutch, I can't make this clear enough. Kutch cannot be the full-time DH anymore. He's either got to retire or he's got to go into a more reduced role because he's just not cutting it. It's not enough. I like Kutch, but it's not enough. You need to bring in more firepower than what Kutch can bring you at this point. So that's why I'm saying. Oh, and then so to add on, you need 2 or 3 outfielders, and you need. I think you need an additional right-handed first baseman / DH who could platoon with Horwitz, but they probably see Horwitz as an everyday player. But I think they could use a first baseman with a little bit of power on the right-handed side who can DH as well. And I think I said catcher. They need catcher too. So there's a lot of holes to fill. And I don't want them to fill all of them internally. Most of them, I want them to go actually get out and get players. And you could do that on the cheaper end. But they actually have to maybe spend a little bit more. And that's the thing. Do I trust them to fill all of those holes? No. I highly doubt that they'll do it the right way. But does Jared Triolo maybe help them, give them some flexibility to do that? I think so. Because if he can hit around where IKF is hitting, 250, 260, with a tad more power, I think that's fine for that position. I really do. And he'll be the stopgap for Connor Griffin because they expect him to come up potentially next year, probably the year after. But so Jared Triolo, I'm okay with that happening. A couple other things as far as the pitchers. I think Dennis Santana, with him being the closer, I think that kind of got to him at first. Like, oh, I don't have David Bednar anymore. We don't have the duo. But he's kind of settling into the role. I think that's a good sign. Is Nasty Nicholas, is he back? He's having another second half surge here. Can we actually get him to bring that into spring training and into the start of the season? Can we actually keep him on the roster? Because this guy has so much potential that I hate to see it wasted. He could really be a part of this back end of the bullpen. We've seen him really do really well. As far as the rotation goes, you talked about Bubba Chandler and Brad. Like, we have so much depth, but because a lot of these guys are young, and you have Johan Oviedo, who we know can be very inconsistent. Like, I am really rooting for Mitch Keller to get out of this second half rut once again, because it is becoming a big issue. It is becoming like a thing now for him. Well, he's automatically going to be bad in the second half. If you're going to be at the top of the rotation, like, you have to be pitching well for most of the season. You can't be good and then just have 1 or 2 months where you're really bad. Like, if you're going to be the number 2 starter, and I want him, because of some uncertainties with young guys and Johan Oviedo and other things, like, I want him to assert himself as the number 2 starter. I want him to have a strong September. But once again, he just keeps getting hit around. So I hope that the St. Louis game he had is like, he can ride that momentum and have a solid September, because his numbers every year are a little above average, like, at the end of the year. And we know he's a better pitcher than that, like, I feel like. But his numbers don't show that. And the numbers are what the numbers are. And if you're going to be in contention for playoffs, you have to be better. He has to be pitching well towards the end of the year. So he's got to get over that hump, or it's like, this is a thing with him and that we have to be concerned about. And it makes you think maybe the Pirates should have traded him at what could have been his highest value. So those are kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, so before we end, I kind of want to touch on, like you mentioned, on the catcher spot. I think that, now this probably won't happen, but I would love to see them, I guess, overpay for this guy. But, like, if Adley Rutschman, if they're really talking about him being available, I would go all in on getting him. Like, we already know he has the offensive upside as a catcher. And we already know that he is a very good defensive catcher. You could have the best defensive duo at catcher with Adley Rutschman and Henry Davis.
And 2 number 1 overall
exactly.
picks.
And you would be doubling down on a pitching staff while also having a catcher that has that offensive upside that he's shown in his first 2 seasons.
And even with Rutschman's struggles on offense, it's still better than what Henry Davis is doing overall right now. Like, and that's just the truth.
Right. And you could get a guy that, I mean, I'm not going to say he's going to be the next Russell Martin, but he could be a guy that could have that kind of, like, both sides of the ball output that could really transform, a pitching staff that could really, make some major improvements next year.
They're going to have to make
Is
some
Joey
decisions.
Bart a non-tender candidate? At this, I feel like he's a non-tender.
If they don't add at first base, and if they're actually gonna have,
and they
him,
make him the right-handed first base, but he's none of his power came out this year.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing you have to worry about. I'd rather
bring back Rowdy Tellez. At least he's hitting 15 home runs. Like,
he's actually been good for the Rangers.
Yeah, like
he got up.
Yeah, and he was solid for the Mariners too. I don't know why they got rid of him. I mean, obviously they got Josh Naylor, so that's why they got rid. But like at that point, like, yeah, I'd rather just him be non-tender. You can get somebody else cheap.
Right.
You can bring back Carlos Santana, give him one more chance. That would be the most poverty.
Is he a better right-handed hitter than left-handed hitter? Santana? I don't remember.
That's right. He's a switch hitter. I forgot. I forgot about that.
But yeah, is that all?
I don't know.
Else?
You want to talk? Did you want something to say about Reynolds?
Oh, yeah. To me, like, I think that Tommy Pham and IKF, this is why I feel like I think they were held off at the deadline, because I think that both of them have very high interest coming back, and I don't think they would command much.
Oh my God.
If you think he's going to be your starting third baseman, then no. But if he's going to play a utility role in the infield and be a fourth infielder, I'd be okay with that. Yeah. That's the only situation, though. If you're bringing him back thinking that he's going to be your third baseman next year, like, I just don't see that as an impactful decision. So. But I think Pham as a fourth outfielder, that's fine.
If they do that,
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine with them bringing it back if he's a depth kind of piece.
Right. Exactly.
Like what Adam Frazier was supposed to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
That I would be cool with that. But other than that, anything else you guys want to add before we?
I said you wanted to talk about rentals, but I said Reynolds.
Oh, Reynolds. Oh, I meant rentals. Yeah, I didn't mean Reynolds, but I do agree
but
with
I
you,
said
though.
Reynolds.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
well,
we should talk about Reynolds. Like I said we should mention Reynolds like hitting wise because he's been
very good lately.
Yeah, he's been.
We know.
As of a few days ago, he had the third most improvement in OPS from first half to second half. It isn't like the OPS. It's like 810 or something, but like. Or 820, but it's like it's a lot better. But he is like he's striking out at an alarming rate still.
Yeah.
Like in St. Louis, he had 2 really good games. He went 2 for 5 with both games. The one game he homered, hit that double, but he was 2 for 5 with 3 strikeouts in both games.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just crazy. Like he's not. I don't know what it is.
I think if he could just be the DH and just relax and chill,
I
be the
agree.
chill guy he is, and focus on hitting and being the DH. But it's this Kutch thing that they need to get. Like, if you really want to compete, like Kutch can't be more than a bench piece. But the problem is they don't want him to play the field. So it's like I don't know, and he can't play first base. What if remember he was trying in the beginning of the season? He was like messing around at first base. What if they Kutch? You need to play first base. Imagine number 22 at first base. That'd be the funniest thing.
That would be. But then
that would
defense.
actually be a decent idea if he could play first, but I highly doubt it. I don't
want him like ranging to his right. I don't want him like diving for anything.
Dude, he looked good in the outfield. We were saying earlier in the year, like he looked like the best defensive outfielder.
Yeah, but it was
like he didn't have a negative defensive run save. I don't think
he was good out there, but it's just like. If you put him out there long, like he's like so he might get hurt. Like I don't question like
at
his
first
defense.
Base though.
What if?
Yeah.
That would be funny.
His foot
but like,
stepped
dude,
on it.
he's. But you're acting like he's like, a star player. He's not a star player anymore.
No, but I'm not. I'm very.
What if he gets his step? What if I jumped off a bridge? What if I fell off the building? Like, what do you
but you're not
say?
on the Pirates. You're just.
I don't know.
This has nothing to do with the Pirates. I'm not saying. I'm just saying like, he's 30. He's gonna be 39 years old. Like I just don't know. Like I know Carlos Santana was doing it, but like he was a first baseman for a while. But I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, that would never happen. But
yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. This was episode 43 of We Are Family, and as always, we'll see you guys next time.